October 21st at 12 p.m. Would everybody in the chamber please join me in the pledge allegiance to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion made. Sorry, roll call vote.
My bad.
Nelson?
Yeah.
Knapp?
Yes.
Rexton?
Yes.
Goodchild?
Yes.
Yes.
Now we can go.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion made and second to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Boy, what a great group today in the chamber. This is good. And I want to welcome everybody for coming out, being in attendance at our council meeting today. And I can see Beverly's here from the Sentinel, and particularly you people that are watching over television and joining in with us today. You're sure all welcome. The first thing on our agenda today is a general discussion. And I would like to have Kimberly Waterbury, if she would, come forward. And the reason being is in September is the United States Pain Month. And Kimberly wanted to know if we could be so good to get a proclamation out from the city of Mars to her. So at this time, Kimberly, I want to give you the proclamation. She's very active in the United States pain awareness program, as I understand it. Okay, whereas Pain Awareness Month, whereas pain is a major public health problem for children and adults, is the #1 reason Americans seek medical care. Whereas the Institute of Medicine has found that 100 million Americans live with chronic pain as a result of serious illnesses and injuries. Whereas chronic pain costs the nation an estimated $560 to $630 billion annually in medical expenses, lost wages, and lost productivity. Whereas pain negatively impacts almost every aspect of a person's life, including the ability to work, sleep, and engage in social activities, as well as adversely impacts pain sufferers, families, and caregivers. Whereas the United States Pain Foundation mission is to educate, connect, inform, empower, and advocate on behalf of our over 80,000 members throughout the country, all those who live with chronic pain. Whereas the United States Pain Foundation provides education on pain management, skills, and constructive ways to cope with pain and find fulfillment in life. Whereas increased awareness about the effects of chronic pain results in better outcomes, increased access to good pain care, and empowerment and validation of those living with pain. Now therefore I, Dick Kirchhoff, the mayor of City of Lamars, Iowa, do hereby proclaim September, the month of 2018, as Pain Awareness Month. In testimony whereof, I have unto set my hand and cause great seal of the City of Lamars, Iowa, to be fixed. Done in the City Council Chambers in the City of Lamars, 4th day of September in 2018. You're sure welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Okay, that's fine.
I really appreciate it.
That's fine.
So I'm
And
stuck
good luck
there,
to you,
right? Thank you.
And we want to thank you for what you're doing for the
Go ahead.
foundation.
Yep, you'll hear that more from me probably.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Photo walk, you want a photo walk with her?
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Well, shush your hair. Your bangs.
Oh, God.
There you go.
Now you-
Now it looks good.
Sure, now you
Do I look all right, Mary?
Yeah, you do. We girls care for you guys. Good job.
Thank you so much.
Gotta take care of each other.
I wasn't paying attention. I wasn't paying attention.
Either side.
on to the general discussion, and ladies and gentlemen, the way we handle our general discussion is, if you got concerns or complaints or even compliments for the city, we ask you to stand up to the podium and state your name and address. And the council members are always willing to listen. However, they can't make any decisions today, but they're always willing to listen to what you've got. So I would invite anybody that would like to come forward. Greg Mitchell. You ain't gonna talk about pickleball, are you? Took his thunder.
Good guess. Well, on behalf of the pickleball players that are here at the meeting today, and also the ones that weren't able to make it, would like to take this opportunity to the mayor and the city council for allocating the funds that renovated two underutilized tennis courts out at the golf course and turned them into 4 dedicated fenced pickleball courts and 1 new tennis court that is lined also for pickleball. We have gone in the last 3 years from the ability to have 8 people playing at one time to now we could have 28 people out at the pickleball and tennis facility to play at one given time. Last evening, we had all of our brand new courts full for 2.5 hours with people waiting to play. So we would definitely like to thank you very much for providing those funds in your budget this year to get that done. Especially would like to thank Brad Epling and his crew. I'm sure that when he first heard pickleball, it was like, you all, what in the world is this guy talking about? Well, in order for him to learn how to convert those courts into pickleball courts, they watched videos, they read instructional manuals, okay, spent a heck of a lot of time getting that thing done. They learned how to repair the courts, how to repaint them, line them, put the fences up, and they did that without it being the #1 on their to-do list. Sometimes I have a tendency to exaggerate how nice things are, but if you go out there and take a look at this facility, we have now the premier tennis and pickleball facility in Northwest Iowa. There is nothing that compares to it. We will be able to have sanctioned tournaments there now for the U.S. Pickleball Association, and it was all due to you allocating those funds to get this job done and for Brad Epling and his crew to do the job that they did. I would encourage you all to go out there and take a look at those courts. It's something to be proud of. The mayor and I talked about it, and the title we're going to use and the places to play pickleball is Willow Creek Pickleball and Tennis Courts. So it blends in perfectly with what's out there already. And again, on behalf of the pickleball players, I want to thank you all very much for your help and encouragement to get that job done. Thank you.
Thank you very kindly, Greg. I gotta ask you a question to help your score in.
002.
I've had the opportunity to work with Greg and this group since the pickleball program was announced. Was 2 years ago, I think it was, Greg. And I just want to compliment you folks for what you're doing and how you're doing it and how organized it was. So thanks again. We appreciate it. And
Come out and learn the game. Yeah.
I don't know anything about it. Thanks a lot. Thanks, everybody. Okay, is there any other, anybody else who would like to step up for open discussion? Seeing or hearing none, why, we'll move the program along. John, thumbs up award, Clark?
The only thing I've got is, I'm wearing sunglasses because I went to the eye doctor this morning, and it's very bright in here, so, I'm not sitting up here with a hangover and trying to get cold, so. Anyway, I just wanted to tell
You
you.
can't fool everybody.
It was a eye doctor.
Okay. Anything
No,
else?
I,
Just a thumbs up for the Community Theater Postal Playhouse and their production of The Addams Family. Outstanding again, great performance, great things for our community. And then give a little plug in for the Mystery Dinner Theater coming up for the Chamber early this next month.
Thank you. Anything else?
Nope.
Rex?
are you in that?
Can't
Yeah,
say-
he's in.
I can't say it's a mystery.
He has the lead part.
Oh, see, I just thought we should put a plug in for the lead actor.
Yeah.
No, I got nothing else.
Okay.
Just nice to see things like pickleball, and only in Lamar do you get these grassroots things that get started by a few people and go out and do the selling job. And they sold the console on it, it's good to see them move forward.
I might add to it, because I was kind of involved in that program, but when Greg first approached us on this pickleball thing, I knew nothing about it, and I said, well, have you got any plans or programs or that you can show us, and how to build it and everything, and it started out at $100,000. And he come back and he said, well, here's one of them, and I said, might as well save your time and mine too. I said, there's no sense of going to the council with that one. And so, anyway, come back and he redone it and come back, and I think, they stayed within, the figures we were looking at, and I think they got that bill for under $20,000. So, good job, and it's good for the city. Okay. Consent items. Today, we've got 5 of them. All items listed on the consent agenda will be enacted by one motion, and there will be no separate discussion on those items unless a request is made prior to the time the council votes on the motion. The first one is approval of August 7th, 2018 regular meeting minutes. Number 2 is a list of the bills for period ending 8/17/18. Number 3 is a monthly financial statement for 2018. Number 4 is a renewal or liquor license and beer and wine permit for the outdoor service area of Godfather's, The Bar, and Corca. And number 5 is the appointment. And I want to take number 5 before we go there. It has to do with Denny Fogema being on the new committee of the civil service. And I have visited with Kenny, with Denny, and it had to be publicized 30 days before, and it has been done, so we ask for approval of it. Is there any others that anybody want to pull? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to approve consent items 1 through 5.
second.
Motion made to approve items 1 through 5. Motion been made and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, moving on to the action items. The first one is Main Street closing grant. Information is attached is a letter from the Main Street manager, Mary Reynolds, and I see she's here today, requesting financial support for a 2018 State of Iowa Main Street Challenge Grant application in the amount of $37,500 for one office solution, namely Steve and Heidi McNally. Mary, you want to share with us a little bit about that?
Sure. This will be the 5th challenge grant that we will be applying for. It comes from the State of Iowa Main Street program. They have just under $1 million to allot to communities, 54 communities that are Main Street programs within this state program. We have been so lucky to receive $15,000 from you to help the American Legion. So if you recall, that was quite a dramatic change and a wonderful change for our veterans. The Beauty College, we redid the windows, opened them up, building looks great, and you gave us $37,500. Clawson's, I'm sure you've all been up to their 2 lofts, their high-end lofts on their 2nd floor. And you can see now that the Brown Central Event Center is being worked on the second floor. And that will be made into a bed and breakfast by the Brown family. We come to you this year with an ask for one office solution. There was a group of individuals in county, including city council members, historic preservation, and Main Street design committees, along with the assistant city administrator. We interviewed 5 different businesses because we had quite a few that had interest in being considered for application for this grant. We did choose one office solution. This will be a renovation of their second floor, which has pretty much been dormant because there is no access to the second floor. We had to have the fire chief bring a ladder and go up and look at it. So we would really be making inroads. There would be 2 stairwells put into this building, and the project would have 3 2-bedroom apartments and 1 1-bedroom apartment. It would have a green space on the patio, so that's one of the first ones that will be downtown. And we are asking for the city to support us. We can get up to $75,000 from the state of Iowa, and we've been very lucky to get that 3 times. This would be our 4th. And it's a 50-50 match, so the $75,000 that would come from the state needs to be matched $75,000 minimum. So we are asking if you would come in at half of that half, so $37,500, and then the other half would be money from the McNallys. But this project is probably going to be around $400,000 to redo all these units and to put in 2 stairwells. So we would be grateful for your support in helping us have another positive project for second floor housing in downtown Lamar's. If you have questions?
Any questions for Mary? I can share this with you, Mary, that following through and watching, I know you worked very, very hard on this program for the last 4 or 5 years, particularly the upper loft apartments. And it's amazing to see the ones that have been there and done it and what it's meant to them. And I can point out to Legion particularly, it's not only not for the veterans, but you'd be amazed at how many local people are now patronizing that place and fixing it up and cleaning it up pretty hell.
It just takes one building at a time, or one CDBG project, or the facade program, but we're definitely making changes in our downtown. We would very much appreciate the support for this project. I don't think it can happen without it. You know, every little bit helps. So if you would come in, and if we get the state money, that would be great. And just to let you know, Rich Zitlow, Dr. Steve Collins, and I write the grants. And last year we wrote the #1 grant in the state of Iowa for the Challenge Grant. So we do work very hard on it for our community.
Kind of curious about ingress and egress in this apartment. There's no access to it. So
There's no access whatsoever. It was one inside. Rich, can you address the stairs, please?
They're gonna build 2 brand new ones. I know, but will one be on Central?
There'll be 2 entrances, one on the back. There's a back delivery door there now. There'll be a stairway built inside that'll come up, and then there's a back entry door up on the upper deck patio there. And then they're gonna put in a new stairway in the front. It's a double wide store. The old stairway used to be right where where the 2 buildings come together.
So they're gonna run.
They'll utilize that. They'll use, they'll run stairways from the front, so there'll be access from Central as well as from the back alley.
Has Terry Clausen got both of his rented? I know you have
Yes.
one.
Oh, yeah.
Right away.
Yeah, you remember that.
And what is our long-term thing? I'm not necessarily opposed, so don't be threatened. What is our long-term thoughts on parking? I mean, Mary's just now bringing in 5, if they're done and rented, you now have 5 or 4 apartments. So you've got a minimum of probably, by our own code, 6.5 cars.
I think the discussion, Clark, was before you came on council. We had this with Scott Langel, and Scott had said that the other councils can remember that possibly we could start designated 1 parking spot per unit in some of our parking lots where they are most close to.
That was brought up a year ago or 2 years ago, so I was in,
Yeah.
okay, but I didn't know if we had gone any further with that.
No, we've never had someone come to us with a problem that they
Okay.
are unhappy with it. I mean, I've heard of one individual that lived downtown but didn't continue to, but for the other tenants, we're not hearing that at all. They're walking across the street from a parking lot that exists, so.
Yeah,
It's fine, I just, you know.
Yeah,
I
it's a
think
good question.
Good question.
We're gonna have this come at us at some point in time.
This one has a parking lot.
Murphy's,
Out back.
back by Murphy's. and
Yeah, as part of that, half of that
Half
is
that's
city.
ours and half that's Murphy's, right? Okay.
Yeah,
that-
half is mine.
Right, well, that office, I mean, I know that, but that's a city lot, so that, okay. All right,
Did that answer your question?
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and it was last year when we discussed it because of Clausen, and at that time,
Mhm.
it was Heath Husk had just done some above. Church.
He lives above his building.
So that's when we kicked around the idea of designating spots.
Absolutely, so. Well, you're looking at a city's investment of less than 10% on the total project, and as long as they're successful and it's cleaning up and utilizing the downtown, I mean, I can justify us vote, that's for sure. You know, I gotta be careful how we spend tax dollars, and so.
I'd like to follow up, Clark. I think at some point, we are gonna have to start talking about on-street parking. And just to let you guys know, there's more people living downtown, and some of those tenants are not happy to get a $10 ticket at night, but they'll pay it just to park on Main Street.
But that's not gonna free, I'd like Scott Knipe in on this conversation too, and he's not here, but that's okay. But I just wanted to bring it to the forefront that.
At some point, we're gonna have to start a discussion.
Start dealing.
Maybe not now.
Right.
Maybe 5 years down the road.
That's fine, okay.
Thank you. Anything else for Mary? If not, I might just share with you, it's recommended the council will approve the $37,500 for the project, and the financial impact of the funding will be coming out of the economic development.
That's if you get the grant.
Oh, yes, it's always contingent. Your
Yeah.
gift is always contingent on if we get the state grant.
Right, okay,
It's a win.
right. Okay.
And this is very key for us when we write the grant, because they look at that to find out if the local government is supporting it, so
Sure.
we're very grateful.
Right.
Okay, thanks, Mary.
I have one more thing when you get all done.
I'd entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the Main Street Challenge grant application of the city of Lamar's funding $37,500 of the project from the Economic Development Fund.
I'll second that.
Motion been made second to approve the Main Street Challenge Grant application with the city of Lamar's funding for $37,500 of the project from the Economic Development Fund. All those in favor say aye.